Very small, as you can see. Wonderful piece of kit. And if you'd like to load up and give us a few examples of what this was like. Over. Things do jam, that's German engineering for you. The magazine's on the floor. Okay, you know. Okay. So we'll show you another German weapon. This would have been the standard issue sidearm for German troops in the Second World War. Everyone thinks they're all running around with a Luger. Now the Luger was in use in the Second World War, and it's supposed to be replaced by this, the P-38. Now the Germans were very literal with the numbering system they used for their weapons. The P-08 Luger was introduced in 1908. So guess when the P-38 was introduced? Yeah, you got it. So this would have been the most common one in use. Again, a 9mm weapon, which was the standard German sidearm ammunition.
I haven't used this for months. Now you see the first blank went down my top.
Bit warm?
Yes.
Right, we're going to have an example now of an American weapon. This is the 1911. The Americans did it as well. Guess what year the 1911 was introduced? This was made by a company called Colt, you've probably heard of. And it was actually designed by a chap called John Moses Browning. Now bear that in mind, because we'll come back to that man in just a few minutes. He designed lots of things for Colt. He also designed the ammunition that this was using, which was the 45 ACP round, also used in the Thompson submachine gun. A very large, slow-moving, dangerous caliber. I mean, take an elephant out with that. Very slow-moving. They can be shot with one of these, find its way inside, bounce around before your bones, and make a big hole out the other side.
I really ought to learn how to clean my weapons.
No comments?
Now then, that's chap I was talking about, Mr. Browning. He got a bit fed up with Colt because he had all these designs and they weren't taking them on. So he went to Belgium and set up his own factory. So this, the Browning 1935 was introduced. This is commonly called the high power, chambered for the 9mm round. But because the factory was in Belgium, and Belgium was occupied during the Second World War, this weapon would have seen use on both Allied and Axis sides. If I was to choose any of these for my own personal sidearm, this would be the one I would go for every time.
That's why.
Say no more. Right, so I'm going to demonstrate you to the one rifle that we have, which is the Enfield Mark IV. This is the standard infantry issue weapon of the Second World War. Replaced the SNLE, which was the standard sort of First World War weapon. Both 303, but these were a bit cheaper to produce. And of course we were at war and we needed to sort of refine things a bit and make them cheaper to produce. To take 10 rounds, this magazine, the magazine, 10 rounds, which was a bit of a advantage over the Germans and their K98s, who only had a 5-round capacity magazine. And in the skilled hands, these could fire off a heck of a lot of rounds in a very short space of time. When they were first introduced, some of the opposing sides thought they were facing a machine gun. Some of these guys were so efficient in using these. All these things are really good when they don't run. Beloved of snipers as well, because they were very, very accurate and set up and they have incredible range. We're going to do some more in this one. On the other lap, we'll have a go. This one is actually a live firing weapon. Probably blank ammunition. It's a little bit So we're going to move on now to SMGs, submachine guns or machine pistols, of which the gangster version very often had a searchlight magazine. So if you've seen the Chicago films, you know what I'm on about. Again, this is chambered for the 45 ACP round that was designed by the guy I mentioned earlier on, John Moses Brown. You won't want to be facing one of those, will you? So our version, what we came up with, was two guys, Mr. Shepherd and Mr. Turpin, out of the Enfield factory. So you got S. Shepherd, T. Turpin, E.N. Then, cheap to make, not factories that were already making things from fresh steel were making these. Companies like Meccano, for example. So we have two examples here. We have facing your way. On your right, this is the Mark II. Over 2.5 million of these were produced during the war. Very straightforward. It's the tube with a spring and a bolt with a fixed firing pin. The only machine part in it actually is the bolt. The rest of it is just made out of steel. 32 rounds, but they had a tendency to jam because the magazines and the springs, because the strength, not the most would have caused jams, and they were prone to jams as well. One of the famous examples, I don't know if you've heard of an operation called Anthropoid, which was in the Czech Republic, Prague. The idea was to kill hybrids. And they were going to ambush him on a corner in his car to make the same route every day. But they jumped out with a stem and stemmed down. So they threw a grenade in instead. And the grenade went off. Didn't kill him, but what killed him was sepsis from the upholstery stuff in the upholstery and gun. Next to that we have the Mark V, which was introduced in 1944, oft used by parachute troops. A bit more refined, they stuck a bit of wood on it. Some people say it made my gun worse. But this is what we would have been using around about the time of D-Day and on the Mark V. Basically the same weapon, but just a few refinements. By then we knew we were winning the war, so we spent a bit more money on it. So the Mark V, of course, isn't a blank firer, but the Mark II here is. So we're going to demonstrate that for you. Bear in mind, this is a very cheaply produced weapon. Still works, doesn't it? Now, don't you then have that one when they try to assassinate hydrogen? Now we're going to show you the German equivalent. two examples of the MP40, MP stands for machine pistol in German. Machine pistol is easy to say, it's in German, it's not, don't take that as point. German engineering should be a bit better. Now the Sten used the 9mm ammunition, 9mm parabellum, as did the MP40. And you're thinking, well, why would a British weapon contain with the 9mm? The idea was that you could easily use captive ammunition. So, oh yes, magazine. As you noticed earlier on the Sten, the magazine comes outside, fits inside, whereas in the MP40, it fits on the bottom. That has disadvantages about lying prone. You couldn't lie down on the ground easily with a bottom plate magazine, whereas you could with the Sten. We're going to demonstrate a couple of these ways. There you go. A lot of our guys, if they come across one of these, they would prefer it. It's a bit more reliable than the Sten, but it has that disadvantage of not being easily usable if you're lying prone. It has a lip at the front actually that you can hook over the edge of the vehicle if you were flying from the vehicle. That's what that bit's for. You're going to do some more?
That's it, clear.
Right, so we have something a bit special now. We're going to demonstrate to you. We've got a mortar team here, and they have the British Infantry 2-inch muzzle loading mortar, which our guys at infantry would have carried around one of these. Generally a two-man team. One guy would be sort of pulling out the aim and direction, the other guy would be loading. Very efficient. If you hit something with one of these, you can take the tracks off the tank, for example. That concludes our firepower demonstration. If you want to come up and talk to any of these guys, they'll tell you all about these weapons in more detail.